Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is John with Addicted to Fishing, and today we're going to do a recap on a rod and reel that I picked up, and I figured I would fill you guys in on what my impressions have been thus far with this rod and reel, kind of give you some background on what I bought it, but the many uses I've found for it. First off, the reel. If you remember, I did a JDM unboxing from Digitaka, where I picked up the brand new Shimano SLX70. This has that MGL 3 spool. Plenty of information out there, including the video that I did on this reel. And I'm going to kind of do a twofer on this one, just because I have not reviewed or talked about these rod socks, but I'll talk about those, I believe, a little bit in this video. And take the rod out of the sock. Maybe I'll save that rod sock for another short video. So anyway, here's that reel. I paired it up with a Bass Pro Shop crank and stick. It has that sock flex technology. I believe I did a full video on the rod as well. Anyway, it's the model number CNS701 MLT. Lure, it's a 7-foot rod. Lure weight 1/16 to 1/2 ounce. Line I recommend 6 to 14. It's a power, medium light, action fast. I find it to be kind of a moderate, because it bends pretty far down into the rod. It's definitely, and I don't have a lot of room here, guys, to kind of move around. Let me see if I can pull back here. It definitely has just a fast action tip. I'm running 8-pound, and let me pull out a spool here. 8-pound Berkeley big game line. I know it's got a sticker over it. I bought this one on a clearance special. It was normally $9. I picked it up, I think, for $3. I'm gonna do a video on this line and some perks about this line in a later video. But that's all I spooled up on here, because my primary, when I started looking at this reel, let me back up a little bit. The first time I was going to buy this reel, I ended up buying the Kalias, just because I was able to get, a $500 reel for the same price. But when I was looking at this reel initially, I wanted a reel that I could pair up on a light action rod to throw small crankbaits, small poppers, small treble hook baits, and probably a few other things on it. And this rod serves that purpose really well. A couple of my little favorite things that I throw on it: it handles these Man's baby -1s. It chucks those really easy. Kind of the same bait, different manufacturer. The Lucky Craft CB001. These are both kind of that wake bait, or just barely subsurface bait. Little popper. This happens to be the Megabass Pop Max, or is this the Pop X? Yeah, the Pop X. I'm not a big collector on any of the baits, so I sometimes forget which models or what. I think the Pop Max is the bigger one. This one happens to be a Gary Yamamoto, but just a little walking bait. I've got quite a few smaller walking baits that I'm able to throw on it. Here's one. Here's actually 3 more baits that that I have thrown on this rod, and it throws them with ease. They're kind of tangled up here. First one is this little Sammy. I believe this is the SLX70. The little gunfish in the same size profile. And you can see the difference between those. And then you want to kind of compare that to a full-size walking bait. You can see quite a bit of difference there. And then the Seville minnow. I forget what, I think they call this the stick shad, maybe. So anyway, that was my primary thought process when I was seeking out this combo. Let me go ahead and put these two last baits away here. But anyway, after initially purchasing it, looking at it, I realized that I could do a lot more with it. Here's kind of my little small BFS box. You know, it's got that same Sammy in it. It's got the little Zara puppy in it. It's got some Yuzuri cranks, some other little micro cranks, micro spinner baits, little Rebel crawls, the Berkeley finisher, some small lipless. It's got some small jerk baits, some even smaller poppers. Pretty much everything that I picked up out of this box, this rod and reel throws it with ease. This is the 70 millimeter, 4.6 gram Blux Craw, which is kind of that Gamecraft little joint swim bait. It throws that with ease. Once I started throwing some of this smaller stuff, I thought, well, what else can I push this combo to do? And then I found out, like, the smaller chatterbaits work really, really well on that rod. This one happens to be a Mini Max. I've used the little micros. I think I have a micro right here. And these are like little 1/8 ounce. Throws those really, really well. Some of the little CDM chatterbaits that I bought is throwing those with ease. And I went down even to the 1/8 ounce flashback mini. And it throws those really, really well. One of the favorite things that I've been doing with it lately, because I've been chasing a lot of schooling fish up chasing shad, is I've hooked up with this 1/16 ounce and a 4/0 hook, the Core Scamper rig. I've showed this rig on the channel before. I've actually got one rigged up on the rod. I'll show you it rigged up. Kind of give you a little more info, but there's that little Scamper rig. Okay. And I have one rigged up right here. This happens to be, it happens to have a Zoom wing fluke rigged up on it, and that wing fluke has done phenomenal. You can see it's kind of like that depth sock Amada shad, except for these are a lot more readily available. This one's kind of been put through the ringer a little bit, so it's kind of bent and misshaped. Yep, it is rigged upside down. There's a reason for that. It gives the bait a lot more little thump in the action. It's almost like fixing those little minnow chatterbaits. So if you're going to reel it on a street retrieve, I kind of give it that same action as I would a regular fluke. But then again, I can reel it straight forward, and it puts off, it's coming through the water. This one I'll have to kind of straighten it up a little bit better on that hook, but it comes through the water with a great wiggle. One thing to keep in mind, though, when you're throwing something and you're thinking, well, John, how can a combo throw that light of a bait? Well, not only do you have to consider the weight, we'll use this scamper rig. You know, it is a 1/16 of an ounce. This part here is 1/16 of an ounce. Then you got to add in, you know, the weight of the soft plastic. I'm here to tell you, I don't care if it's 1/16 of an ounce total weight. This combo throws these little bitty baits with ease. And I'm not talking just throwing them 10 to 20 yards and you're sitting there casting 300 casts to learn how to throw this thing. It did take a little bit of adjustments, you know, on the reel. I'm glad that it has the external braking system. You can see here, I've got that at about 3. I don't know how well that'll show up, but it's set at about 3. Used the line tensioner, dialed that in, took it out, cast it quite a bit. I'm not needing to cast this more than about 20, maybe 30 yards in some of the areas that I've been fishing. And it does that with ease. It's just a little lob and it goes out. I have bumped up to some full-size chatterbaits, full-size spinner baits on this, and I'm talking full-size, but yet they're 1/4 ounce. This thing is rated up to 1/2 ounce, and it did well. It handled those bigger baits quite well. I don't think I would necessarily want to just throw a straight spinner bait, buzz bait, you know, even if it's well rated in this thing. The rod is a little bit too soft in my opinion for that, but it definitely worked. I was able to pen fish on it, didn't lose them. Everything that I've hooked on this rod, no matter what lure I've had on it, has handled it with ease. I'm really super impressed with this combo. I went with this rod because it was the only crankbait rod that I found that was able to load at a 1/16 of an ounce. And I was looking for stuff to load these small, super finessey crankbaits on. Once I went to Bass Pro Shop and I put this rod in hand, it's super light. The whole combo itself is super light. I could cast it for several hours. I don't get fatigued. I did get this reel specifically from Digitaka because the JDM model is the only one that offers it in a 6.3 speed. I wanted a slower speed for the techniques that I was fishing. It does keep a spinnerbait up nice and high. I'm already holding my rod in a higher position anyway because I'm fishing around a lot of current, a lot of rock, and I'm trying to keep that bait elevated up and out of that rock. But also, once I started playing around with the action of the rod and I seen that it bends, you know, this is the second guide. There's guide 1, so we'll just do comparison. There's the reel seat and the reel. You come up here, guide 1, guide 2, and we got flex all the way into guide 2. So it's flexing deep enough into this reel for those treble hook baits, but it has a really strong backbone to it. It's got enough tip. I believe it's got the perfect amount of tip for a treble hook style bait. Again, I'm throwing it on 8-pound line, really light line. It's straight mono line. I like that mono. I like to have that extra stretch with my treble hook baits. And again, I'm really, really super impressed with this combo. This reel is super buttery smooth. Part of that is because it is brand new. It does not have any wear in it. The more and more I've used this, the more and more fine tuning I've done with this reel, the more and more impressed I get with it. Some of these smaller baits that are pushing up into that 1/4 ounce range, when I'm bomb casting it, I'm almost can spool this reel. I try not to do that because I definitely don't want to be that deep into my spool because I don't want to cast really that far. I don't have gin clear water that I need to make super duper long cast to kind of get far enough away from myself so the fish aren't seeing me or they're spooked. I don't really need to do that. Most of the water that I fish is stained to dirty water. Sometimes this water around here, we've had a ton of rain this spring, is more chocolate milk, or at least it's heavily stained. You know, some of it's 12 inches of visibility or less. Sometimes I get up to about 14, 15, 16 inches of visibility. Um, but I don't have high visibility, so I'm not casting super long cast. I did bomb it a few times just to see what this reel did. Um, and like I said, it performs flawlessly. It's a super duper nice reel. Back before the tariffs or anything, bringing this reel in from the JDM market, was shipped to my door for about $129. It's an extremely good deal. You can buy it still locally. Tackle Warehouse carries it. A few different places have it. It's going to run you about $149.99 plus shipping, plus taxes, everything else. Some of those sites, if you spend $150, you're going to get the free shipping. Unfortunately, the couple times that I did look at buying it stateside versus JDM, a couple of the sites they wanted $150 for shipping. This falls short at $149.99. Yes, unfortunately, being 1 penny short, they were going to charge me shipping. You know, I easily remedy that and pick out a $5 lure or something along that lines to add to it. You most definitely could do that. If you want it in the 6.3, you have to get the JDM model. Um, right now, patience is going to be a virtue for you, or you're going to have to, you know, pay whatever kind of export fees, anything of that nature on top of it. So I would suggest if you're ordering from the Japanese domestic market, the JDM market, that you really consider what you're buying. Make it worthwhile. I talked to a guy, he's still ordering from the JDM market. He's being charged a straight flat $100 fee. So if you were to buy this reel by itself, it's not worth the $100 fee, in my opinion. Now, if you're adding in a box, a straight box of different types of soft plastics with it, you know, you're getting 20, 30 other baits, 50 baits, 100 baits, whatever it is, you're getting line, you're getting the reel, you can make that worthwhile. You know, the savings are there, to offset it. You're going to bring your cost of the goods a little higher, but you're going to get those JDM colors, in this case, that JDM speed that you can't get stateside. So paying the extra handling might be worth it for you. I don't know if I would order it right now because I truly don't need, you know, a couple $100 worth of JDM baits along with the reel to offset the cost to make it, in my opinion, worth it. I wouldn't pay even $229 for this reel if it's just what I was going to buy. This reel, don't get me wrong, is worth, even if you're stateside, the $150 price tag. It's probably a more higher end reel than a $150 class reel. I put this reel up there with my Corrados. I can even say this reel is as nice as my Calias. It's just as smooth. There's some other features that are in a Corrado or a Calias that makes that reel a better reel than the SLX, but this thing is built like a tank. It is bringing a lot of that high-end technology down into, in this case, a sub $130 reel. That 70 size is a little small. I've got big hands. I wear a size 12, 13 ring. But it does fit, to me, it fits perfectly in my hand. I like that 150 size reel. I thought this 70 size might be a little too small, but it's not. I can adjust myself to fish that quite easily. Again, guys, for the money, I would even dare to say that if you're looking for more of a power BFS setup, this is a contender for that. You know, when you're talking BFS, a lot of these baits that I have are straight BFS. I'm putting on, and let me pull one out here. I was throwing on a 1/64 ounce jig head. And let me see if I've got one of those jig heads right here. It was a Z-Man jig head and a 1/64 of an ounce. No, I'm sorry, it's 1/12 of an ounce. I had to write it on the bag. It's 1/12 of an ounce. The little Z-Man jig hook. Okay, 1/12 of an ounce. And I was running that on a Eurotackle B-Vibe. That's a 3-inch little paddletail swim bait. This happens to be another full pack of them. This little B-Vibe is something else. I got a few more packs of these coming. But that's what I was throwing on that little setup. I love that rod and reel for all this little finessey stuff. Man, let me tell you, it handles it and handles it with ease. Little paddletail swim baits. I throw them a lot this time of the year. You know, again, I'm looking to ultra match the hatch. You know, I need stuff that's going to look as realistic as possible. I need stuff that's going to differentiate myself from, you know, in some of these spots where I'm going, the other 300 anglers that have been through their fishing. So I tend to go really, really super finesse. If that's not BFS worthy, I don't know what BFS worthy really would be. I mean, you can get down to that 1 gram stuff, but you know, I don't have to fish that finessey. Pretty close. But anyway, guys, if you're looking for, in my opinion, a really budget friendly, you know, this is probably a $200 combo. You know, again, in my opinion, for throwing that super finessey, you know, dare I say BFS, power BFS. Some people argue that that's not true BFS. But again, in my opinion, it's bait finesse. You know, we're fishing little micro stuff. This is on the bigger side. This is where I call it that power BFS. It really, really does the trick. But again, I can pull out my little box here. And when we're talking about this, just happens to be a Guggen Squad bait. I thought this one was bigger. I bought it for the color. I'm able to put this micro clutch on. Yes, that's, to me, BFS. That's a micro clutch. And that rod throws that with ease. Little micro Rapala jerk baits. Throws those. You know, to me, that's a win. Stuff that I could throw normally, I just throw on a spinning outfit. Now I can put it on this little lightweight bait casting outfit. That's a pure win for me. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching the video. I do apologize for being kind of erratic on my days. I've had some concerns that have come up, and I've been kind of struggling with it a little bit. It's nothing too serious. At least right now, it doesn't seem to be too serious. It's going to be kind of an outpatient thing. I'll probably touch base on that in another video. But anyway, guys, I really appreciate those of you that are clicking on the video, liking, sharing, commenting, doing all that fun stuff. It's helping my channel grow. I really, really appreciate that. Until the next video, thank you.